Yo, Lloyd aka Mega Butts. In today's video, we're looking at Cinderace EX with that Zoroark EX. Now, I never really thought Cinderace EX could be played in anything, and I thought Zoroark EX was kind of always a draw engine, if anything at best. However, both have proven to be wrong. Cinderace EX has kind of seen some play in some different random rogue decks going around, and Zoroark EX is not only its own deck with the Enzdarmanitan, but it's also a very pivotal and good draw engine in that Gardevoir EX deck. Now, I gotta give a huge shout out to the person who actually provided the deck list for me to use in today's video. That's gonna be my buddy Blake. So thank you so much for providing the deck list for today's video. Let's get into it. Already here at that deck list. First, starting us off with the star of the show, Cinderace EX. It does have that Terra ability, so it prevents all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from yours and your opponents. Its first attack, Flare Strike, for that fire and double colorless energy for 280 damage during the turn. This Pokemon can't use Flare Strike. And then it has a second attack for a fire, a fighting, and a dark energy, Garnet Volley. Now, this attack does 180 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. You don't apply weakness or resistance for bench Pokemon. So, we can snipe the bench with this Cinderace EX. And that's really exciting because there's not really a whole lot of bench sniping going on in the Pokemon TCG right now. So Cinderace kind of is the only one that can do it. So we paired that with, of course, Zoroark EX. Has the ability Trade. You must discard a card from your hand or use this ability. Once during your turn, you can draw 2 cards. We don't use the Night Joker attack, but let's say we need to in a pinch. Night Joker for double dark energy. Choose one of your benched Ents Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack, which we can't because there are no other Ents Pokemon. Ah, gotcha. All right, Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX for that Blood Moon attack and that late game attack with that season skill ability. 1 copy of Munkidori for that Adrenabrain. Fezandipiti EX for Flip the Script, and then 1 copy of that Budew because Itchy Pollen and item locking is just too good. Then, of course, we got 2 Zorua to be able to evolve into our Zoroark EX, 3 Scorbunny, and 2 Raboot to be able to complement our 3 Cinderace EX. Now, we're also playing 3 copies of Crispin. That's the main supporter in this deck, really. Structure deck for up to 2 basic energies of different types. Reveal them, put one into your hand, attach the other one to one of your Pokemon. It's really helpful to try to get that Garnet Volley attack set up on our Cinderace EX. Then we're playing 2 copies of Serrano, I believe is how it's pronounced. Structure deck for up to 3 Pokemon EX, reveal them and put them into your hand. So very helpful being able to find our Zoroark EX, Cinderace EX, Bloodmoon Ursaluna, or our Fezandipiti. 2 Brock Scouting, 2 Iono, 1 Boss, 1 Kieran, 1 Professor Scenario, and 1 Cypher Maniacs Code Breaking, 3 Nest Ball, 3 Buddy Buddy Poffin, 3 Rare Candy, 2 Night Stretcher, 2 Ultra Ball, 2 Switch, 1 Counter Catcher, 1 Secret Box as the ace spec of choice, which is really helpful in this deck, trying to find all these different pieces that we have to evolve into and things like that. 1 copy of Earthen Vessel, 2 Artisan, and then 4 Dark, 4 Fire Energy, and 3 Fighting Energy. I've been having tons of fun playing this deck, and once again, I want to give a huge shout out to Blake for actually providing the deck list for today's video. So let's jump into that gameplay. Already here at that Cinderace EX gameplay at the coin flip, we are going to elect to go first. And the reason I choose to go first here is because if I can get a attachment on to one of my Scorbunnies and then next turn be able to follow that up with a Serrano to be able to find some of these Pokemon EX out of my deck, like Zoroark EX or that Cinderace EX. I can Rare Candy in the Cinderace and then evolve my Zoruas into Zoroarks, and we are off to the races. But this hand is pretty solid, starting off with that Budew in the active spot and a Scorbunny here. Got a Munkidori as well. Iono, Buddy Buddy Poffin, Night Stretcher, and that Artisan. So we're in a pretty okay spot here. Playing against Dragapult EX, it looks like our opponent here. Gonna start off with that Dreepy and that Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX. So we're gonna Buddy Buddy Poffin for that Scorbunny and that Artisan, and then Buddy Buddy Poffin for the Zorua, and the Scorbunny Artisan is gonna find us the Zorua. And then we are just going to pass turn. Now, we are going to be able to get some item locking going here, which will be pretty nice as well. Kind of in a position where that's all we really have right now. Our hand's kind of okay at best. We have an Iono to try to kind of just find some better cards. But really, as long as we can get Zoroark EX up and running, we can just draw into a bunch of cards. So we should be okay. So we're going to have to see what is kind of going on here. Our opponent here, Ultra Ball, going to find themselves a Pokemon Artisan. Going to be able to use that Artisan here to be able to find themselves a Duskull and put that Duskull right on to the bench. And then pass to us here. So we're going to Cypherman's Code Breaking for the top deck, which is not really what we wanted. We're going to throw down the Munkidori. And then we're going to Cypherman's Code Breaking. And we're going to set ourselves up for the following turn here. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to put Zoroark EX to the top, and then the next card we're going to put is that Crispin here, so we can hopefully end Zoroark EX and then trade into some more cards. But Itchy Pollen for 10 damage to our opponent, and now they are item locked. No items coming from our opponent, no Nest Ball, no rare candies, no Ultra Balls, none of that. They're going to put that Psychic Energy to the Dreepy here. Artisan for our opponent. Going to go to that Iron Bundle, which is kind of interesting here. Gonna see what's kind of going on. They got the Dracloak, got the Recon Directive rolling as well. So our opponent here gonna Hyper Blower, actually. I'm not really too sure what the goal was here. I'm not sure, maybe they're trying to kind of force us to just be trapped or kind of be stuck with something in the active. Not too sure. So our opponent here in a situation where they're gonna just force us to throw up the end Zorua, and then they're going to Recon Directive, look at the top two cards, one to the hand, one to the bottom of the deck here. And we're just going to have to wait and see what they ended up getting. They might have just kind of gotten a card they can use for next turn, or just maybe even a dead draw. So end Zoroark EX for our top deck, like we already knew. Then we are going to play the Iono, it looks like here. They're just kind of drawing the Crispin for the following turn. We got Brock Scouting here, Secret Box, and a couple other pieces. We're just going to trade away that Scouting to be able to find ourselves two more cards. Secret Boss going to pitch the Scouting and the Nest Ball and that Dark Energy to find rare candy. And we're eyeing up maybe a second Crispin here, because after that we don't really need anything. We have Switch, but we're going to rare candy into that Cinderace EX here. Now I can use that Switch to go into the Budew to keep the item lock rolling. That's exactly what I'm going to do. 10 more damage for that Itchy Pollen. We have two Crispins in hand, so we're in a situation now where we could just start attacking with our Cinderace next turn. We just got to get to that Crispin, and it's got to live. So we're just going to have to wait and see here. So our opponent here, going to use that Artisan, get themselves a Dreepy. We're in kind of a situation, if they go Curse Blast onto the Cinderace, Counter Catcher or Boss and pull up the Cinderace plus Dragapult EX, we would lose our Cinderace EX, but it's not looking like that's the case here. We're just going to have to kind of see. Recon Director for our opponent, and Dragon Headbutt going to take a knockout on our Budew, putting the prize trade to a 6-5 here. We're going to throw up our Cinderace EX, and we have access to that Crispin here. So we're going to Crispin, grabbing ourselves that Fighting and those Dark Energies. And then we're going to put one to the hand, attach that one to the Pokemon. So attach the Dark Energy, attach the Fighting Energy. And then we are going to use the Artisan again here. Kind of looking at maybe grabbing the Scorbunny, but we don't really need it. So end Zoroark, pitch the Ultra Ball, draw two cards into another Ultra Ball and a Fighting Energy. We're going to use that Garnet Volley attack and take the knockout on that Dracloak here. And the reason I did that instead of using Flare Strike is because Flare Strike does 280, sure, but that 180 can actually just get put to the active spot, so there's not really a reason to use the Flare Strike attack at this moment. So putting us at a 5-5 split here, kind of in an interesting situation. If we can keep them off of that Dragapult, we're in a pretty cool spot. So we're just going to have to kind of wait and see what's going on here. Our opponent got a Nest Ball for that Duskull here. In a pretty interesting situation. Like I said, if we can get rid of the Dracloak and keep them off that Dragapult EX, we have a real shot at being able to just completely control this game. Now, however, the Dusknoir is a problem also in of itself, because they can use that Curse Blast, take out things like our Scorbunny on the bench, the Zorua on the bench, and of course taking knockout on that Munkidori as well. Also being able to set up some crazy numbers on Zoroark EX or even Cinderace EX as well to power up that Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX on the bench. So got to be a little bit careful on what we do here. We're just going to have to kind of wait and see what's going on. Or the Vessel going to pitch a card to get a Fire and a Psychic Energy here. Attach the Fire Energy to that Dracloak. Still have access to Recon Directive as well here. Throw the Experience Share on that Dracloak, and let's see what they're going to do with that Recon Directive, if they're even going to remember they have it or not. They might have already used it. I can't recall. But regardless, they're going to pass to us here. Ultra Ball here. Going to pitch that Artisan and that Fighting Energy. Going to be able to grab ourselves a Cinderace EX. Now, what I should have done is I should have actually grabbed a Zoroark EX so I could draw more cards. But we're going to just throw the Dark Energy to that Munkidori to try to set up for kind of the counter for Dragapult, which is that Munkidori. Trade, pitch the Fighting Energy, draw 2 cards. Scorbunny and a Fezandipiti EX. Not really what we want here, but Garnet Volley, I keep saying Valley. Garnet Volley onto the Dracloak, taking a knockout here, putting us at a 4-5 split, keeping them off that Dragapult, which is going to be really nice here. So just keep applying that pressure, keep controlling the board state the way we are, and just kind of win the game from there is the hope. Our opponent, however, does have that Jacques here. Jacques is going to find themselves that Dusclops and that Dusknoir here. So Rare Candy into a Dusknoir, and maybe just evolve the Duskull into Dusclops maybe. So Rare Candy to the Dusknoir on, I think, the benched Duskull, and then you could evolve the active Duskull into Dusclops. Is exactly what they're going to do here. If they had a second Dusknoir, that'd have been kind of insane. They're going to attach the Psychic Energy to the Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX. Counter Catcher, pull up our end Zoroark EX, which is not good for us, just trying to trap that Zoroark EX in the active spot. Gonna be able to use that Dusknoir and Dusclops Cursed Blasts here. So that's exactly what's gonna happen. Cursed Blast from the Dusknoir, probably going straight to that Munkidori. Yep, they're gonna take a prize card, but we're also gonna take a prize card. So we're at a 3-4 split now. Now they also have access to that Dusclops one. If they could have Night Stretcher and then just hold on to it, and then they could Curse Blast again, taking a knockout on like the Scorbunny, would be kind of insane. And they're going to use that Night Stretcher, so maybe that's what they're looking at here for the turn. We're just going to have to kind of see what they grab out of that Night Stretcher. But they grab a Fire Energy out of the discard pile instead. Not too sure the reason on that, to be honest. But maybe they're trying to eye up another Dreepy to get that set up on the bench. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. Artisan, grab a Dreepy. But they can't attach the Fire Energy because they already attached the Psychic Energy to the Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX. So Nest Ball here going to go into the Budew. Going to try to item lock us as well here. Maybe going to use that Curse Blast from that Dusclops. Not sure where they're going to put it. Going to put it on this Cinderace EX. Now, I would have put it on the ends Zoroark personally, because then next turn you could just put up your Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX and then take the knockout on the end Zoroark. But you also run the risk of me just counter knocking out with Cinderace in that Flare Strike attack. So we are in a pretty interesting situation. Fezandipiti EX doesn't get us any prize cards because Dusknoir doesn't care. So we're going to trade here. We're going to pitch ourselves one of the Cinderace EXs, draw 2 cards, get ourselves a Dark Energy, which is going to be pretty nice. Attach that to the Scorbunny here. And then bench another Scorbunny, and then we're going to play the Iono, just trying to draw into some more cards, trying to kind of save ourselves, evolve into the end Zoroark EX here, trade, gonna pitch the Fire Energy, draw 2 cards into the Raboot, into the Buddy Buddy Poffin, evolve the Scorbunny into Raboot, and pass turn. Now, we're in a situation where we are effectively drawing 5 cards a turn, right? We're drawing 5 cards a turn because we have 2 trade abilities, and we also have the draw for turn. So draw for turn for 1, trade 2 times, we're going to be drawing 4 cards from that. So we're in a situation where we just need to find like our Professor Toro scenario or switch, but the switch won't really help too much because we are currently being item locked by that Budew. So we are going to need that Toro scenario, however, but if we can find that Professor Toro scenario, we're in a pretty solid spot, I think. Our opponent going to Iono us again here, putting us to 2 cards in hand. Going to get Nest Ball in that Fire Energy. And if they just keep us item locked, they're in a situation where they could eventually just deck us out and just hope we don't have Turo Scenario, or maybe attach plus rescue board or something like that. They're going to Artisan here for another Budew, getting a second item locking Budew here, ready to go. I think that's the kind of out they're going for, is just I'm going to item lock you and just hope you don't have it. But we top deck that Kyurem here, going to be able to switch out of our ends Zoroark EX, but we're going to trade here. Finding Turo scenario as well. So we have access to a couple things. We're going to trade again, pitching the Serrano, drawing Serrano, and a Night Stretcher here. And I'm like, all right, what could I do? We're going to Turo scenario, pick up the damaged N Zoroark EX, and then I am going to be able to have access to the N Zorua again if I wanted to bench it. And I am going to re-bench it. And the reason I do is because I have Zoroark EX next turn. But we also have that Kieran in hand if they try to kind of stall or anything like that. So we're going to use that Garnet Volley attack, taking a knockout on that benched Dreepy here. Going to take another prize card, putting us at a 1-4 split. Just sniping the bench sniping away all the time, taking almost majority of our prize cards by using that Garnet Volley attack and just sniping everything. We're going to get Iono'd again here, unfortunately. Going to put us into a switch, however, which is not really what we wanted. But they're going to go into the Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX, and they're going to be able to Bloodmoon here for 240 damage. But that's not going to do enough. Only 290 here. So they're going to counter Catcher, pull up our Raboot, and take the knockout with the Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX for 240 damage, taking a knockout. Going to take an additional prize card here, so a 3-1 split, but we're going to be able to throw up our Cinderace EX and then use that Flare Strike attack, or even Garnet Volley, doesn't really matter, but we're going to Flare Strike for 280, taking a knockout on that Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX, taking our last prize card here, really being able to showcase not only the bench sniping that this deck really has to offer, but also just the pure power and just kind of control element this Cinderace EX deck has as well. Now let's jump right in to that outro. All right, it's going to go for today's video. I mentioned about the deck list that I played in today's video in the description below, ready for copy paste into TCG Live. And if you guys enjoy the content I've been making stuff on the channel, don't forget to leave a like, smash the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. And of course, make sure to follow me on TikTok, Twitter, and join the Megablitz PokeCove Discord. I started a series there where I have been uploading these random Pokemon TCG live codes, about 2 to 3 kind of every other day or so. But you have to be in the Megablitz PokeCove Discord to get access to that. So definitely join to not miss out on that. I also want to give a huge shout out to all of my awesome channel members that you see here. They continue to support the channel even further by joining the Trainer Club here on the Megablitz YouTube channel. But I'll see you all in the next one. Peace!